Did that make sense? Yeah, and I think this is probably a drill for home, because this is something you can do in your front room. Just practice kind of someone sprawl on top of your head, pick a side, yeah, and if you're looking out to your right side, it's your left leg that's going to go through. Okay, so horse, foot up in this position. This is in catch wrestling, it's called a sprag. I still call it sprag because I think it's a fun word. This hand stays nice and high, ready for our jazz hands. Sit through, and jazz hands will look up. And then you can go back, head goes out to the left, which means your right leg's going to go through, sprag. You can make it like a nice little mobility drill as well. So something to have to think about when you're at home. Right, so Jake's on top, into sprawl position. That can be one where people are not a massive fan of, and he might start moving as well, which kind of kills it a little bit. But I'm going to do the same thing, start creating a little bit of a base. Okay, so from this position, I'm going to sit into him. That's fine, you said don't sit into him, that's right. But we're going to do it in this occasion because I want to get guard. Okay, so it's the opposite direction. I've still got to be careful with my neck and get my head out, because it just makes it a lot easier once you do get into a guard position. So I'm going to sprag on the opposite side. Yeah, and now I'm going to sit in to guard. Okay, so Jay's going to keep his weight on top of me and get a little tighter. Oh shit. So here, in, and trying to pull some form of guard. This is desperation. If you're doing this, it's usually because every time you sit out, you drag your hip down and you end up in a worse position. We just need to slow the game down, or we want to play guard. Okay, so it's just the opposite way of doing stuff. So sprawls on top, still clear the head. Yeah, you don't want your head underneath doing this because it's still going to create the same amount of pressure as we did on the first one. Sit up, yeah, and sometimes you might not even get your legs round. It might be just a case of doing something like this, yeah, or controlling one leg, which we call half guard. Doesn't really matter, but start nice and light, but then progressively put a bit more weight on. Make sure you clear your head. Yeah, before we do either of these, get your head from underneath that person. Give it a go. 1, 2, 3.